Welcome back to the Who's and the Yanks, where we talk everything Canada soccer and U.S. soccer. Today it's the 4th of July, and happy 4th of July to all those celebrating. And on this 4th of July, we'll be talking about the USA Men's Gold Cup finalized roster. And I'm going to be reacting to it and reading off the list of names, and we're going to find out who made this roster and who didn't make the cut, and talk about big misses or interesting players that I think could be interesting on this tournament, that who've made this list. So, without further ado, let's go to the goalkeepers. We have Brad Gazan, Sean Johnson, and Matt Turner. And then we go to the defenders: George Bello, Reggie Cannon, Shaq Moore, Donovan Pines, Miles Robinson, James Sands, Sam Vines, and Walker Zimmerman. We go to our midfield now: Kellen Acosta, Gianluca Busio, Sebastian Lletget, Christian Rodon, Eric Williamson, and Jackson Mule. And then finally we go to our forwards: Paul Arriola, Daryl Dike, Nicola Chalkiny, Matthew Hop is pronounced Hoppy, Jonathan Lewis, and Josty Zardes. And this is the lineup, yeah. And from the start of it, going by the first, I think it's a mediocre. We know the United States is not going to put out the same lineup like we saw against the Nations League or any of the European players, matter of fact, that were going to take part in this Gold Cup roster. But overall, I'm still surprised by the amount of players that are not in this finalized roster, and such as Rubio Rubin, and another. I think he was at one time thinking about switching to Honduras for his playing for them, but I think at one point he did wait and see if the USA would choose him. But he didn't get chosen, so now I wonder what he's going to do. Is he going to stay, or is he going to actually go through with that one-time switch to represent Honduras on the international stage? So basically, that's one of the many or couple missed opportunities for the United States that I see in this lineup. Rubio Rubin, I really thought I was going to see him, and but it looks like it's not going to happen. And then Palmer Brown and Carter Vicks are also not in this lineup. The two young defenders that I talked about in the last one. So I can already tell you enough from my starting 11. There's going to be some changes. But according to Greg Berhalter, he said the reason why Palmer Brown and Carter Vickers were not brought up into this Gold Cup roster was because he wanted them to keep getting established with their club. And he said if they get more and more they get established like the other European U.S. players, the more and more they get established with their club teams, the better it'll make them be overall, as well as for the quality of the national team. So he's letting all these. That's another reason. One of the main reasons why he said we're not going to see a A team or even a B plus team in this tournament, because he's still trying to he's trying to explore the talent pool and see who else can have a crack into this this World Cup qualifying roster later on in the fall. And then B, of course, you got European players trying to give them a break, and then, of course, let them work in with their clubs in the preseason over there. So that's just two of the main reasons why we're not going to see we knew we're not going to see a dominant U.S. team like the Nations League. And yeah. But then another player I'm sad I didn't see is Jesus Ferreira. Greg Berhalter also said that he was going through some fitness issues or injury, and he almost made it but didn't quite get it. So he fell short this time. Maybe next time, another U23 standout. He was really big for the U23 team, although they didn't qualify for the Olympics. I still wanted to see him have a shot on this Gold Cup roster, but he didn't make it this time. And then not just Jesus Ferreira, but FC Dallas. A lot of FC Dallas players, young players in general, didn't make the cut either. And Greg Berhalter says he still wants to see more development from them. He still wants to wait till they get older. And that's understandable. Although, in the Gold Cup tournament, I kind of want to see just anybody play. But, we have our roster, and this is what we have to work with, so we'll see. But, yeah, once again, Jordan Morris. Remember, he's injured. He's out for the season with an ACL tear, and he would have probably most likely been caught up into this if he was healthy, but he's not. And somebody else is probably going to take a spot. And thankfully, well, I can't say thankfully, but it looks like there may be some options that maybe would step up in his place to do so. Um, but yeah, that's a big loss once again. Jordan Morris not being able to make this time. And then overall, though, for me judging lineup, it's mediocre. It's about a C team more than a B team. Definitely not the best. But it would be very interesting to see what this group of players will do in this tournament. Who knows? Maybe they might shock everybody. They might shock the whole CONCACAF. And some of these players, they have a good tournament. They could find themselves in some European offers. And that's also what Berhalter is trying to do, I think, too. He's trying to pool talent from MLS. Remember, this is an MLS, for the most part, an MLS-heavy side, other than the two players, Nicolas Chalkiny and Matthew Hoppe. Yeah, he's trying to see maybe possibility of the MLS players getting a call up to Europe, possibly, if they do well in this tournament. So maybe that's what he's also doing, too. Once again, exploring the talent pool and this depth, the amount of players the United States has. But yeah, other than that, mediocre lineup. We'll see what they will do in the coming weeks in the opening of the Gold Cup tournament. But that's pretty much it. Now I'm gonna go into my starting 11, and yes, as I said earlier, there will be some changes. And once again, I'll emphasize those changes by saying instead of so and so, they will be replaced by that. Okay. So starting keeper did not change for me. It's still going to be Matt Turner, and hopefully it looks like the United States will start Matt Turner according to their ways, according to what it sounded like Berhalter said in the press conference before the Gold Cup. He said that Matt Turner, he was asked questions on Matt Turner, and he sounds Matt Turner is a really outstanding guy for the New England Revolution. He's been really big. He's had some key moments, and it's going to be really interesting. I think he's going to be the go-to keeper in this tournament, and for me, I could agree more. Matt Turner, it's definitely for me. He makes my cut, and that's the keeper. Then we go to the reminder. I'm playing a 4-3-3. So yeah, something seems off. Reminder that this is a 4-3-3, just my formation, and your formation might look a little different, but this is just doing this for fun. Remember. And then in the back line, the left back did not change for me, as I was Walker Zimmerman, quality defender for Nashville, MLS players, defender standard of the year. I think that's a given. It sounds like the USA, Greg Berhalter, he also agrees to, according to the press conference about Walker Zimmerman. And then in the next one, instead of, I had someone here, instead of Eric Palmer Brown, maybe Sam Vines. Might do Sam Vines. I think he looked okay. I think he was FC Dallas or Colorado Rapids, but another defender, he could get you something. Some quality looks, but we have no other option. Judging by the other defensemen that I would pick, Sam Vines for me would most likely do it. Just like the next one, I have Miles Robinson instead of. I had another guy that didn't get got was Aaron Herrera for Real Salt Lake. He did not make the cut this time. That's another loss. I thought would have been a quality defenseman, but instead I have Miles Robinson taking his place from Atlanta United. I think Miles Robinson, from the sounds of it, looks like Berhalter is trying to give him a shot. He said he liked what he saw with Atlanta United. For me, I thought it was pretty interesting. I think it's interesting to see. He's been kind of up and down. So it's going to be interesting to see what Miles Robinson we see in the Gold Cup. But in the last defense, another lockdown spot, Reggie Cannon. He played well in Nations League, and I think hopefully he'll play again well in the Gold Cup as well too. But that's the defense. Then we go to the three in the mid, and instead of Julian Green, once again another disappointment that I'm really sad I did not see in this Gold Cup roster. Instead of Julian Green, I have Kellen Acosta, but it sounds like Kellen Acosta looks like he may be a great backup. I think he played in the friendly against Costa Rica, and I think he looked pretty solid. And I would go with him. He'll get you good looks. He's a great attacker, and he'll provide some quality through balls, maybe to who's up top, like Zardes or DK or even Chalkiny. And then for the next mid, I have Sebastian the Jet, and that's a given. No change from there. Even sounds like Berhalter trusts Leggett, so it sounds like he will get that position. I agree with him. I will put him in my lineup. So no change from my last preliminary lineup with Leggett in the center, and as well as Christian Roldan. That's another given for me. You got to have him in the mid. I think he's another, once again, great quality guy. They'll get you great looks, great attacking looks, and you can't go wrong, honestly, with them. And of course, Jordan Morris would have been in this, but he's out due to ACL tear. But yeah, imagine if he was healthy, you would have Morris, Leggett, and Christian Roldan. But looks like Acosta. Hopefully, he'll step up to the plate pretty big. And then we go to the strikers, and instead of originally I had Matthew Hoppe. Now it looks like he's young and he could come off the bench, so I have him come off the bench. But I know I said this last time, but Zardes, I wouldn't mind seeing Zardes start. It looks like he's been in form. He scored the first goal in Columbus Crew, the new Crew Stadium, and he also scored the final goals in the historic Crew Stadium, as well as before that he scored the first goals in the historic Crew Stadium. So it looks like right now, he's looked pretty great, and hopefully with the likes of Daryl Dike or any other pacey midfielder striker guy, maybe they'll give him good looks and make him better than what we saw last year. Because last year, he was on the national team. It was a different Zardes. So maybe this year we'll see a different. Maybe we'll see a better Zardes with better players around him. So maybe that's what he needs, just better players. But I'll put my trust in him and say Zardes can start now. Oh, and we'll have, if not, Matthew Hoppe's there to take his place. And then in the striker position, the next one, I have Daryl Dike. No change again. Dike was promised to start this tournament, and I think he's going to be given that opportunity. For me, got to have him, especially if you want to challenge for try and challenge for a tournament trophy, given this amount of players or given the type of players you have here. You have to have Daryl Dike in this lineup, or else you may not have a chance to even win a major trophy. And so the final guy for me that I want to see starting is no change from last time, Nicolas Chalkiny. This guy said, once again, he said he wants to be here. He wants to represent the USA. But it's up to Berhalter to see what kind of formation he plays. Does he come off the bench? Does he have better options? Because he very well could just put Dike and Zardes up top and have Nicolas Chalkiny and Matthew Hoppe come off the bench if need be. Or do a formation change where he doesn't start Nicolas Chalkiny, because Matthew Hoppe takes his place. So it's going to be interesting to see how Berhalter does this. But for me, this is what I would do. I would have Matt Turner in the goal, Walker Zimmerman, Sam Vines, Miles Robinson, and Reggie Cannon on the back line. Kellen Acosta, Sebastian Leggett, and Christian Roldan on the midfield. And then finally up top, Zardes, Dike, and Nicolas Chalkiny. That's my starting 11. But we'll see what Berhalter does. If it's different, we'll see what happens to it. And perhaps we'll see. He's trying to challenge for a trophy, so we'll see if they can do that. But for now, that is it for this video. If you like this video, make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, and also tell all your friends to enjoy the 4th of July if they're celebrating.